Hey there! So today, we're going over something that might sound technical at first, but I promise, once you get it, it's a total game changer for your writing. We're diving into active voice versus passive voice. We're going to break it down with some clear examples so you can walk away with a solid grasp on what these voices are, why they matter, and how to use them on purpose. Let's start with the basics.
What is voice in writing? When we talk about voice in grammar, we're not talking about how writing sounds. We're talking about the relationship between the subject and the verb in a sentence. Here's the big idea. In active voice, the subject does the action. In passive voice, the subject receives the action. Sounds simple, right? Let's look at some examples.
Active voice. Clear, strong, direct. Let's say I write, "The dog chased the cat." This is active voice. Why? Because the subject, the dog, is doing the action. It's chasing. The verb is chased, and the object, the cat, is receiving the action. This follows the clean and easy pattern: subject plus verb plus object. It's like a little assembly line: dog to chase to cat. This structure matters because it puts everything in a logical, straightforward order. We know who is doing the action, what they're doing, and to whom, or to what they're doing it. There's no confusion.
Let's look at a few more active voice sentences and see how this structure plays out. The teacher answered the students' questions. The teacher is the subject, answered is the verb, and questions is the object. I submitted the paper last night. I is the subject, submitted is the verb, and paper is the object. Researchers discovered a new species. The researchers are the subject, discovered is the verb, and species is the object. Each time, the doer of the action comes first, followed by the action, followed by the receiver of that action. That's the beauty of active voice. It makes things easy to follow.
And this structure does a few key things for your writing. It's concise, no extra words, no fluff. It's clear, the reader doesn't have to guess who's responsible for what. And it's strong. It gives energy and intention to your sentences. Active voice is especially powerful in argumentative essays, blog posts, journalism, or storytelling. Any kind of writing where you want your reader to stay engaged and understand your point without confusion.
Passive voice, when the subject gets acted upon. Now, let's flip our first example from active voice to passive voice. The cat was chased by the dog. Now, the cat is the subject of the sentence, but it's not doing anything. It's just being chased. This is passive voice. The subject receives the action. Now, take a closer look at the sentence structure. In passive voice, it usually looks like this: subject plus form of to be plus past participle plus optional by plus who did it. So in this case, the cat was chased by the dog. Was is a form of the verb to be. Chased is the past participle of the verb chase. And the last part, by the dog, is where we finally learn who actually did the action. But it's delayed, hidden in a prepositional phrase. Now, here's where passive structure often makes things more complicated. It flips that natural subject-verb-object rhythm. Instead of putting the doer up front, it hides or de-emphasizes them and can slow readers down or cause confusion.
Let's look at a few more passive voice examples. The homework was completed by the students. Homework is the subject. Was completed is the passive verb phrase. Students are the actual doers, tucked at the end. The cake was eaten. We don't even know who ate it. The experiment was conducted in a controlled environment. The emphasis is on the experiment and conditions, not on who conducted it. So what's happening here? In each case, the subject is having something done to it, not doing the action. It's a bit like shifting from a spotlight on the doer to a spotlight on the result or recipient. That's not always bad. It just depends on your purpose.
But structurally, passive voice usually adds extra words. Let's compare. Active, the students completed the homework. But passive, the homework was completed by the students. Same basic meaning, but the passive sentence has more parts. Was completed, 2 words. Plus by the students, prepositional phrase, that adds up. So when your sentence starts piling up forms of to be, like was, where, has been, is being, and past participles like completed, eaten, damaged, chances are you're looking at a passive structure. And that can be a problem when your writing starts to feel vague, the doer of the action gets buried or lost, or sentences become needlessly long or indirect. But again, passive voice isn't wrong, it's just doing something different. It shifts the focus. If active voice is the actor is doing something, passive voice is more like something is happening, maybe by someone, maybe not.
Why passive voice gets a bad reputation? So, you might be thinking, if passive voice still gets the point across, what's the big deal? Well, here's the thing. Passive voice can make your writing sound vague or wordy. It can hide who is actually doing something. And if you use it too often, your writing can start to feel dull or indirect. Compare these two. Active. The committee is considering action on the bill. Passive. Action on the bill is being considered by the committee. Which one sounds clearer and more direct? The active one, right?
But wait, passive voice isn't always bad. Let's not hate on passive voice entirely, because it does have its place. Here are 5 good times to use passive voice. Number 1, when you don't know who did the action. My car was stolen. No idea who took it, but it's still important to say it happened. Number 2, when the actor isn't important. The forms were submitted. Doesn't matter who submitted them, we care that it's done. Number 3, when you want to shift focus to the action or recipient. The vaccine was administered to over 1,000 people. We're focused on the people who got it, not the nurse. Number 4, in scientific or technical writing, the data was analyzed using statistical software. Because it often emphasizes objectivity and results. Number 5, passive voice can also help soften blame. Mistakes were made, not saying who made them, which can be socially useful.
Quick test. Can you spot the difference? Let's do a few quick examples together. Example 1. The brakes were slammed on by her as the car sped downhill. Passive or active? That's passive. Were slammed on is a giveaway. Now let's flip it. Example 2. She slammed on the brakes as the car sped downhill. That's active. She's doing the action. Example 3. Your bicycle has been damaged. This is passive. Example 4. I have damaged your bicycle. This is active, and probably not a fun conversation.
How to change passive to active? Okay, what if you have a passive sentence and want to make it active? Here's a trick. Find the real doer, the person or thing doing the action. Make that your new subject. Rewrite the sentence in a subject plus verb plus object format. Let's try it. Passive. The soundtrack was completely remixed by the sound engineers. Active. The sound engineers completely remixed the soundtrack. Passive. A ceiling must be placed on the budget by Congress. Active. Congress must place a ceiling on the budget.
So, which should you use? In general, you should favor active voice, especially in essays, blog posts, stories, or anything where clarity and engagement matter. But don't be afraid of passive voice when it fits your purpose. Use active voice to be clear, concise, and strong. Use passive voice when the actor is unknown, unimportant, or best left unsaid, or when you really want to emphasize the action itself.
Final thoughts. Think of active voice as putting your subject in the driver's seat. It gives your writing energy. It tells readers exactly who's doing what. But passive voice, it's more like riding in the backseat. You still get there, but the ride feels a little more distant. So as you revise your work, ask yourself, who's doing the action here? Is that clear to my readers? And do I want it to be? Because once you understand the difference, you should choose the voice that works best for your message.
Please visit us in person at any of our campuses. You can also call us at 915-831-2000. Email us at epccwc@epcc.edu or visit us online at www.epcc.edu/services/writing center.